Hi, boys and girls. Before we begin today's lesson, please make sure you have the following materials: your math workbook, pencil, attribute blocks, one square and one rectangle. Now, those are those little blocks that came in the little baggie I gave you, and you've been wondering when we're going to use them. We're going to use them for this chapter. And one red crayon and one blue crayon. So if you need to go get those materials, pause the video and then come back. Okay, so for today's chapter 9, lesson 1 lesson, we are going to discuss squares and rectangles. And our essential question is, how can I recognize two-dimensional shapes and equal shares? All right, so let's first get started. All right, so let's look, okay, and we're going to learn about parts of shapes, okay? Now, if you see here, this says vertex, and it has the arrow pointing right here. That is the corner, and that's where two sides meet and make a corner. So look at this. How many sides are there in this shape? That's right, 4. This shape is what shape? Tell someone in your house what shape that is. A square, very good. Now, when you say vertex, that means 1. If you're going to talk about how many there are in this shape, this square, it's called vertices. So 1 vertex or 4 vertices, okay? So now let's do a little bit of investigation, and we're going to answer the questions to identify the shapes. So if you would like to use your whiteboard, you can for it, or you can just say the answer, okay? The shape shown has blank sides. That's right, 4 sides, okay. The shape shown has blank vertices. Remember what we called what the vertices were. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. Describe how the side lengths compare. They are equal. Okay, I'm just going to write the word equal. Okay, they are equal, meaning all 4 of them are the same length. Okay, okay. And what is that shape that we're discussing right now? A square, correct. S, Q, whoops, U, A, not a very good one, R, E. Okay, square. Okay, so now let's go to our next investigation. Okay, here we go for this one. All right, how many sides does this shape have? How many vertices does it have? Now let's describe how the side lengths compare. That's right, 2 are long, 2 are short. And what is this shape known as? Okay, let's look. That's right. They say the opposite sides are equal in length, meaning this and this, they're opposite each other and they're equal. This one and this one, they're opposite. Those are equal. And a rectangle. Good job. Okay, so now I would like you to go to your workbook, page 635. Pause if you need to turn to that page now. Okay, so this one I'm going to tell you what to do. You will probably need to pause the video to do it, okay? But let's first find the directions here. It says use square and rectangle attribute blocks to make a farm picture, okay? Now, you might not have more than 1 or 2 of those shapes. So what you need to do is trace the squares using a red crayon. Trace the rectangles using a blue crayon. Now, if you need to, what you can do is trace it with a pencil if it's easier, and then go back over it with a crayon, okay? And then write how many there are of each shape. Oh, there should be an H there, sorry. So let's look and see. Here's some attribute blocks. All right, so for instance, if I were to take this square, I could put it here, okay? And then it said a rectangle. So now my rectangle, I'm going to happen to just make blue because that's, I'm not tracing it. So I could do a blue one here. Now, keep in mind, they are telling you only the two shapes that you can use. You should not be using any other shape other than a square and a rectangle. And after you finish drawing your farm with those shapes, it doesn't have to be a barn. Maybe it's a fence. Maybe it's, I don't know, a silo. You know what a silo is? That's where it holds all the grain. Okay, you could do something like that. They can be. You can also turn them a certain way if you want. Okay, you don't have to make it, this way. You can do it at angles, however you want to make your farm. Okay, but once you're done, make sure red square, trace the rectangle in blue, and then write how many squares you used and how many rectangles. Okay. All right, so let's move on to our See and Show page. Now, if you're not ready to continue, pause this now, finish this page, and then come back. Okay, so this one is showing us, different examples. Two-dimensional shapes are flat, okay? They can be open or closed. Now, here's an example. If this little pig wanted to go inside this is an open shape. There's no fourth side, okay? So he could walk in. A closed shape has no opening. All the sides are connected, okay? Squares and rectangles are two-dimensional shapes. They are closed. They have straight sides and vertices. Now, vertex means, remember, vertex is one, and vertices, see how it ends, means more than one. Okay, so right here, they are pointing, and it says there, right here, here's a vertex. They made it in a different color. And then the rectangle, they colored one side. But here, sides and vertices. Okay, so what we are going to do, actually, you're going to look at the shapes for numbers 1 and 2, okay, and I'm going to ask you to pause, and you're going to fill in how many sides and how many vertices for each one. Okay, so pause now and then come back to check your answer. 4 of each. Good job. Okay, now let's look. How are a rectangle and a square alike? Well, let's see. What did you just learn with numbers 1 and 2? They both have 4 sides. They both have 4 vertices. Are they open or closed shapes? That's right, they are closed. Okay, so the on my own for the next page goes up to number 9. Okay, so this one here, you can pause, write your sides and vertices, and come back and check your answers. Here's your answers for 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, now this one. Circle the objects that match the first shape. Now, when they say that, it doesn't mean it has to be up and down, okay? It could be sideways, it could be angled a little bit, but what they're talking about is that this one has the opposite sides are equal in length, okay? So that's what you have to do for this one. And number 8, you have to make sure they have 4 equal sides, okay? So pause, circle the ones that match the first shape. Okay, and here are the answers. Okay, so see, once again, it's slightly longer. It's not as elongated as this rectangle, but it does not have 4 equal sides. And a dollar bill. And notice this one, this is still, okay, I know it's turned so that you might think it looks like a diamond or something like that, but it is still has 4 equal sides, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, now Circle the closed shapes. Remember, if you need to go back and look at the See and Show to remind yourself what a closed shape is, you can do that, and then circle the closed shapes here. Pause and complete this. Okay, let's see if you got all the closed shapes. There you go. Okay. All right, so now we're going to look at a couple of problems. It says name and draw the shape. I am a two-dimensional shape that has 4 vertices. Okay. All of my sides are the same length. What shape am I? Name it and then draw the shape. And you could trace one of your attribute blocks if you want. Pause and finish this problem. Okay, it's a square, and then you should have drawn a square. Okay, I'm a two-dimensional shape that has 4 sides. 2 of my sides are long, 2 of my sides are short. What shape am I? Pause and solve it. Okay, so you should have written rectangle. You could have found that word in other parts of your math book or this past couple pages, and then draw or trace your attribute rectangle. Okay, and here we go. They would like us to use the words closed, sides, and vertices to describe the square. Okay, well, let's think about that. How would you describe that square? Let's think. Well, first let's look. The square, what kind of shape is it? The square is a closed shape, right? It has how many sides and how many vertices? It has 4 sides and 4 vertices. Okay? And that would be it. That's how you describe it. Okay? All right. So boys and girls, when you come to our math group today, you're going to make sure that you have your attribute blocks, whiteboard and marker, and I will see you later for our math group. Bye-bye.